Good afternoon, friends. Today we shall start our remaining topic of the preparation and management of pond. The fourth step for the preparation of management of pond, it is a watering. You know that water is prerequisite and it is essential component for the culture of fishes. Without water, they do not do the culture of fishes into the fish farm. So satisfactory source of water, it is required at the site of the fish farm, and it is needed for filling the ponds with the presence of that water. So during watering, care should be taken that no undesired fish, aquatic insects or other organisms, they are not enter into the pond with the water. Because of that, this undesired fish or undesired species like predatory aphid fish, that is aquatic insects and the other organisms, they are harmful to the growth of the fishes. They have created some diseases to the presence of the stocked fishes into the pond. So that's why it is used for, that's why it is used at the time of filling the water into the pond. They are used the fine sieves for the outlet and the inlets of the ponds. Now these the process are very similar for the nursery pond, rearing pond and the stocking pond. And the water level of these three ponds should be maintained at 3 to 4 feet is maintained in the each and every pond with the help of that watering. This water they are releases into the pond water with the help of the some motors or some water pumps. So after watering, the pond is fulfilled with the water and it is need for the liming of pond. What is meant by the liming? Liming is nothing but the application of the calcium oxide in a pond. It is called as the liming of pond. But this liming, it is needed when the pH of pond water is low, soil and it's to be muddy and presence of large number of organic matter at the bottom of the pond. When the pH of water is low and the presence of large number of organic matter it is present at the bottom of pond, at that time it is need for the liming. So the liming, it is act as growth promoter for the planktons as well as fishes in the ponds, and lime maintains the pH level of the water, and the dose of lime, it is depends upon the pH of soil and it is depends upon the pH of water. You know that the average pH or it is favorable pH of the growth of the fish, it is in between the 5 to 9.5, but the below 5 and above 9.5, it is fatal to the growth of fish. Sometimes the fishes are dead into the pond. So that's why you have to maintain the favorable range of the water, that is 5 to 9.5. It is required for the liming. Now this generally in Maharashtra, this lime is applied for the culture ponds. Then the 100 to 200 kg per hectare lime, it is sufficient. But the pisciculturalists, they are every year it was using the lime into the pond, that's 100 to 200 kg per hectare. It is sufficient for the growth of the fishes and it is sufficient for to maintain the pH of water as well as the soils. If liming is done by everywhere or the regularly, but the adverse physico-chemical conditions is occurs into the pond, at that time the doses of liming, it is a different required for the different pH, such as the pH is recorded from the pond water like nursery pond, rearing pond and the stocking pond. It is 4.5 to 5.0. It has needed the lime, it is applied on the pond, it is 2000 kg per hectare. When the pH of water it is 4.5 to 5.0, it should be applied 2000 kg per hectare lime is required. Now 5.6 to 6.5, in between the pH, it is required 1000 kg per hectare lime. The pH in between 6.5 to 7.5, it is required 5000 kg per hectare, and the pH of 8.5 to 9.5, it is no application of the lime is required for that the pH. Because of that, the 9.5, it is a favorable range, or it is a favorable range for the growth of the fishes into the pond water. Heavy soils, it is need more lime than the soil of inferior quality, and lime should be spread over the pond bottom and mixed with the soil at least 15 days before the stocking of developing the carps. Now this is the methods to use for the lime into the pond when the different pH it is required, the different doses of the lime is required into the nursery pond, rearing pond and the stocking pond. Now what effects or what advantage they are giving from the liming? Liming, it is nothing but it is acts as an anti-parasite in nature, but it is acts as a limiting factor for the growth of the phytoplankton into the pond. So first of all, that it acts as a buffer against the pH change. Then it increases the availability of carbon, which is useful for the photosynthesis. Then it is also destroy the parasite and other unwanted organisms. It helps to improve environmental conditions, enhance the production of the plankton. It increases the total alkalinity and total hardness of water. Always the pH is also increases, so the total alkalinity and hardness is also increases into the pond. It increases the microbial activities, this facilitating decomposition of the organic matter. Then it destroys the parasite and other unwanted organisms. It increases the pH of soil as well as water. So the lime, it is also act as a chemical for the destroy of the parasites and unwanted organisms, and it is also helpful for the growth of the planktons into the pond. Next one is the manuring and fertilization of pond. You know that in agriculture fields, for giving a more production from the agriculture, it has used some manure and the fertilizations for the production. So as like in here, the application of the manures and the application of fertilizers, it nothing but called as the manuring and fertilization of the ponds. So generally two types of the manures, like organic manures and the inorganic manures. These are the two types of manures is presents. The aim of manuring and fertilization is to, what is the functions behind that, the manuring and fertilization? The production of fish by increasing quantity of natural food. Means the manure, it is helps for the production of natural food into the nursery pond, rearing pond and the stocking pond. The fishes are prefer natural food than the artificial one. We know very well that the fishes, they are prepared by the natural food as well as artificial one. But the manuring helps to increase the natural food into the ponds. Then the nursery pond should be fertilized after liming, or the nursery rearing and the stocking pond, it should be fertilized after the liming. The manure like the cow dung, buffalo dung and the poultry manure, and the inorganic fertilizers like nitrate, phosphate and potassium, they are useful for the application of the manuring and fertilization into the pond. So cow dung, buffalo dung and poultry manure are the crude culture of that three manures. They are applied into the cultured pond for the increasing quantity of the natural food into the pond. And nitrate, phosphate and potassium, they are also useful for the natural food into the pond, but it is helps in the form of the natural food in the form of zooplankton and the phytoplankton. So the organic compounds, organic manures like cow dung, buffalo dung and the poultry manure. It is helpful for the increase the zooplanktonic food into the pond, and nitrate, phosphate and potassium. It is also useful for increase the phytoplanktonic or the aquatic weeds into the ponds. Now the doses of manure and fertilizers is depends upon which kind of poisons are used for the eradication of predatory and weed fishes. Next one, the application of manure and fertilizers into the pond. Now these are the three different kinds of pond. This point is a different from the others. Each and every pond it is required the different points. But otherwise all the steps are same for the preparation and management of nursery pond, rearing pond and the stocking pond. First of all, that nursery pond. The cow dung at the rate of 5000 kg per hectare is used. But the other kind of poisons, the cow dung, it should be used at the rate of 10,000 kg per hectare and it stands as an initial dose. Means the application of manure, it is totally depends upon which kind of poison is to be utilized for the eradication of predatory and weed fishes. For the eradication of predatory and weed fishes, it is used the plant derivatives, chlorinated hydrocarbons and the organophosphates. For example, the pisciculturists, they are using the plant derivatives. It is sufficient the first dose of the cow dung, that is 5000 kg per hectare. It is required for the nursery pond. It is required for the nursery pond. But instead of that plant derivatives, the pisciculturists, they are use the chlorinated hydrocarbons. They are using the 10,000 kg cow dung. It should be applied per hectare and it stands as an initial dose. After 7 days, it has need for the second dose into the pond. So the cow dung, it should be applied 5000 kg per hectare is applied after 7 days. Then the mahu oil cake, cow dung and the poultry manure, it is a crude culture. It is applied at the proper proportion, that is 6.3.1 at the rate of 10,000 kg per hectare. You know that the cow dung, it is a 6, poultry manure it is a 3 and crude culture of the mahu oil cake, that is a 1. So these are mixture, that is called as the crude culture, and this crude culture it is also helpful for the fastest growth of the natural food into the pond. Other than the organic manures like fertilizers like nitrate, phosphate and potassium, it should be applied. The nitrate it is should be applied the 50 kg per hectare. The phosphate it is applied as a 30 kg per hectare, and potassium it is applied for the 30 kg per hectare into the nursery pond. Then it is comes to the rearing pond. The first dose of that rearing pond, it should be applied at the rate of 11,230 kg per hectares 10 days before the stocking of carp fry. Then the ammonium sulfate, single superphosphate and the calcium nitrate in the ratio of 11:5:1, and this the mixture at the rate of 690 kg per hectare after 7 days of rearing the fry into the rearing pond. The dose is different. Then it is comes for the stocking pond. In the stocking pond, the cow dung it should be applied at the rate of 20,000 to 25,000 kg per hectare per year. Then ammonium sulfate, single superphosphate and ammonium nitrate in the ratio of 11:5:1. But here it is the application of that the crude culture is a higher when it is compared with the rearing pond. This mixture it should be applied 1000 to 1500 kg per hectare. This is the dosage, or this is the application of manure and fertilizers in a nursery pond, in a rearing pond and in the stocking pond. Now let us the another factors, they are most important for reduce the mortality of the ponds, that is eradication of predatory aquatic insects. So first of all, why this it is eradicated from the ponds? Then this, out of the total number of insect fauna, the 4% are the aquatic insects, means they are found into the fish farm. These aquatic insects, they are multiply rapidly between the initial poisoning and the stocking of spawn into the pond. Means the period in between the initial poisoning, means this the poison at the time of using the eradication of the predatory anguil fishes, and then it is comes to the stocking of pond. In between that period, these aquatic insects are rapidly multiply. The aquatic insects may be fly from pond to pond and causes harms to the stock of fishes. Now the predatory aquatic insects are nothing but Anisope, Nepa, Lactorifus, Ranatra, Coryxa, dragonfly, etc. These are the species they are found into the fish farms. The aquatic insects, that is predatory insect, that is dragonfly, nymph, Ranatra, Nympha, Belostoma, Cebisters and Notocnecta. These are the species they are found into the fish farm. That's why it is called as the predatory aquatic insects. These are insects, they are feeding on the presence of the carp spawn or the fry. So hence the essential step for the control of the such aquatic feeds, they are found into the fish farm, so its grow spawn well and the satisfactory number. So which of the methods they are using for the eradication of the predatory aquatic insects? They are using one of the method, that is using by oil emulsion. So emulsion of the mustard oil or the coconut oil and cheap washing soap at the ratio of 15 is to 18 kilogram per hectare. This is the mixture. It is useful for the eradication of the predatory aquatic insects. It should be applied at least 12 to 24 hours before the stocking of spawns. It makes spray on the water. It is result effectively kill the aquatic insect within half an hour. Means these are the mixture, that is a mustard oil, coconut oil or the cheap washing soap at the ratio of 50% part of the oil and 80% part of the soap, and it should be applied on the ponds. It is easily kill or it is effectively kill the aquatic insect within half an hours, and this practice it is to be done before the stocking of carp spawn for 12 to 24 hours. Next one, it is one of the product. Instead of that mustard oil or the washing soap, that is Tipol B300. It is amber colored liquid and it is the product of Brahma Cell company, and it is also available into the market, and it is also helps to effectively kill the aquatic insects, and it is used instead of cheap washing soap. Means when you are using the mustard oil or coconut oil, instead of the 50% part of the mustard oil and 18% part of the Tipol B300, they are easily available into the market, and number of the fishermen they are using this such kind of product, that is Tipol B300, and it is used instead of the cheap washing soap. So proportion of that Tipol B300, that is 560 ml of Tipol B300 plus 56 ml of mustard oil, or it is also useful for the coconut oil, and it should be applied for per hectare of the ponds, and it is easily eradicated the aquatic insects from the ponds. Now it is very important part of the preparation and management of pond, that is the stocking of spawn, fry and fingerling. You know that stocking of spawn into the nursery pond, stocking of fry into the rearing pond, and stocking of fingerlings into the nursery pond. These are the three different ponds. They are using some different methods for the stocking of fry and fingerlings. So stocking of the spawn, fry and fingerlings, it is totally depends upon the presence of the natural food into the pond, and which type of the artificial food is to be supplied for the fishes. It is totally depends upon the stocking rate of the spawn, fry and fingerlings. Now in nursery pond, or it is depends upon that the manure or the unmanured pond. So the manured pond, it should be stocked at the rate of 12 to 20 lakhs pond per hectare, and the unmanured pond, it should be stocked at the rate of 10 to 12 lakhs. Because of that, it is depends upon the presence of biomass or presence of natural food into the pond. Then rearing pond. After in nursery pond, this the spawn, it is attained a fry, and this fry is transferred to the another pond. That pond, it is called as the rearing pond. So fry stocked at the rate of 62,500 to 1,25,000 fry per hectare. Now in the ratio of the composite or the mixed culture, that is Katla, Rohu and Mragal, and the cyprinus, at the ratio of 3 is to 4 is to 1 is to 2. On the basis of that ratio, we have to stock the different kinds of species into the rearing pond for the mixed culture or the composite culture, as like the exotic carps, that is grass carp, silver carp, and the common carps, that is 4 is to 3 is to 3, at the ratio of 1 lakh to 1 lakh to 2.5 lakhs fry per hectare into the rearing pond. It depends upon the size of the fish. You know that in nursery pond, that is the stocking rate of the nursery pond at the spawns is very high when it is compared with the rearing pond, that is a fry. Then the fingerlings, you know that in a rearing pond, this fry is attained the stage, that is a fingerlings, within 1 to 3 months, and after this attend the fingerlings, then it is stocked into the stocking pond. So the fingerling of Katla, Rohu and Mragal, it is stocked at the ratio of 3 is to 6 is to 1 at the rate of 5,000 kg per hectare. Means the increases the size of the fish and decreases the stocking of the fry and fingerlings into the rearing and the stocking pond. So these are the stocking rate of the species into the pond. Now it is the supplementary feeding. You know that the fishes, they are useful for the natural food, but it has supplied the artificial one or the supplementary food. Because of that, to increase the production or to increase the productivity of the fishes to the fish farm. So that's why it is useful for the supplementary feeding. But according to the Alkuni and Ora and Pillai, their stocked spawns to be fed with the artificial food are as follows, and the feeding of schedule for the 15 days into the nursery pond, and the supplementary feeding or the dose of that the artificial food, it is supplied by the fishes into the nursery pond, rearing pond or the stocking pond. It depends upon the body weight of the spawn, fry and fingerlings. Means dose is proportional to the body weight of the spawns, fry and the fingerlings. But the scientists, they have suggested initially in the nursery pond, that is first to fifth day, the Alkuni says that double of body weight, and Ora and Pillai says that the equal of body weight. The 6th to 10th days, that is the Alkuni says that triple of body weight, and Ora and Pillai, it is called double of body weight. 11 to 15 days, that is a 4 times of the body weight, and Ora and Pillai says that the triple of body weight into the different days from 1 to 15 days, and all the doses on the basis of that the ratio of the body weight of the fry, spawn and the fingerlings. Now this is the last point. After you have complete all the steps, the last step, it is called as the harvesting. And harvesting, it is nothing but to catch out the production from the nursery pond, rearing pond and the stocking pond. In nursery pond, for the 1 days to the 15 days, they are attained the size of the spawn, that is 15 to 25 millimeter in size, within a 15 days it is called as the fry. And this fry, they are picked out from the nursery pond and it is put into the rearing pond. It has need some different techniques and it is used for the drag net, fry net or bucket or the container. In rearing pond, the fry, they are put into the rearing pond and it is 3 to 5 months. They are attained 75 to 125 mm in size, and the size of that the fish, it is called as the fingerlings. Same as it is the dragnet, container or the buckets, it should be used for the stocking of that the fingerlings into the rearing pond. Stocking pond, it is grow up to the 1000 gram. After it is attained the fingerlings, they are put into the stocking pond and it is grow up to the 1000 gram called young ones or the adult in 1 year, and it depends upon the size of fish to use the different types of the nets. But it has simple one of the technique, this the nursery pond and the rearing pond. For example, the spawn, after the hatching pits, they are aerated and with the help of that the pipe, it should be releases into the nursery pond. The spawns are come out into nursery pond. But in rearing pond, this fry is transferred into the rearing pond with the help of the bucket or the container. Firstly, in a bucket we are taking the water. Firstly, we have to check the water temperature of the nursery pond and the rearing pond, and then you have take the bucket, the half bucket of water it is used for the nursery pond and half bucket of water it is used for the rearing pond, and it should be the maintain the water temperature. After maintaining the water temperature, we are using the fry net from the ponds. This through the fry net, they are pick up the fry from the nursery pond and it is put into the bucket, and then this bucket, they are naturally put into the rearing pond. The fishes, they are naturally come out from the bucket and it is goes to the rearing pond. That is one of the method for the stocking of the harvesting of the rearing pond. Then it is different kinds of the nets they are using for the harvesting. So in nursery pond, that is drag net, fry net. In rearing pond, it is useful for the drag net or container or the bucket, and in the stocking pond it is also used for the size of that the fish. It depends upon which kind of net to be used for harvesting of the stocking pond. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome your suggestions and the questions.